Computer now. It is live. Here we are. It is 2:25, meaning February 25th at 3:05 p.m. Thanks everybody for joining. My name is Brant Miner. This is G.R.I.T's informational call. So thanks for joining. If you can't have your camera on, that's awesome. It gives a little more feedback. If you're in a place where you can't, no problem. But thanks everyone. I'm gonna get this thing started. Might as well jump right into it. So I started G.R.I.T 4 years ago to help kids. The two things I really try to focus on are development and experience. So we're focusing on making this a positive experience, not just for the players, but for the parents and all the families involved. We also want to help players get better, and not just on the floor, but also off the floor. So we do a lot extra. So we're going to go through the acronym just because that's something that is important. So I'm going to help. We're going to get a few people muted the background noise out of there. So the G, grit, gratitude. So with gratitude, we talk about being thankful. That's one of the main, that's the G, that's the first letter. With grit, pandemic, I think if nothing else, taught us to be appreciative of just getting to play the game of basketball. So that's the G. And then I'm going to turn it over. I get to introduce the head coach of the Gold Squad. So I will get a little bit into the breakdown of how we're scheduling things or structuring things. But I get to introduce my former boss, the head coach at Pacific. He's in the Boxer Den there. So if you don't know Pacific University, you will get to know it through this program. There are a lot of ties, but Coach Lant, I'm going to turn it over to you to tell everyone what the R is in G.R.I.T.
We got it, Brent. Hello, my name is Justin Lund. I'm the men's basketball coach at Pacific University. I know Brent already just said that. That's always part of my introduction. Excited to be working with G.R.I.T. Again, this year, this will be my second season, and just had a great experience last summer. Working with it, it's been 20 years since I've actually worked with high school kids, and so it was great to get back to doing that, and had a blast doing it, and not only coaching but just working individually with the players and helping them get better, and really love what this whole program's about, because like Brent said earlier, it's not just about coaching basketball games. It's about developing the whole athlete, and that's so important and so overlooked in so many ways. That's why it's great to have Evan on here, and I know Brent's going to talk a little bit more about that. But talking about the mental game, you know, as far as our program goes, at the college level, we're very involved with helping our guys develop that mental edge, and it's definitely one of those things that I feel is very overlooked. So overall, just the G.R.I.T program is not just, like I said, not just about basketball games, and playing club ball. There's so many more aspects about it that are really going to help you as high school student athletes really develop. So really taking all this stuff because it's super important. And one of my former players is going to be coaching, and I mean, he knows from the 5 years he played for me how involved we were with the mental aspect and developing the whole athlete. Brent wanted me to talk a little bit about resiliency. I'm really big on definitions and what that means. So if you look at the Webster Dictionary and what you were to type in what resiliency means, it's the capacity to withstand or to recover quickly from difficulties. And I think that that's such an important piece for any athlete to learn. Adversity is always going to hit. Things aren't always going to go your way. So having the ability to, one, be aware when those things are happening to you, being conscious mindseted and being aware of those, and then having tools to work through those situations is so important. We always talk with our guys. It's a phrase we always use, but E plus R equals O. events plus response equals outcome. Jacob can talk a little bit about that too, just because with his situation and this year, and then also one of the other things we're always talking about is circle of control. It's one of our core values within our program, but being able to focus on the things you can control and eliminate the things that you can't. That's always easier said than done, but we always challenge our athletes all the time that with any situation that happens in their life, is it something you can control? If it's something you can control, let's develop a game plan and let's attack the situation. If it's something you can't control, let's not worry about it. And I think that really plays into having a resilient mindset, is being able to, focus on the things you can or you can control and eliminate the things you can't control. And just know that there's always going to be setbacks in this game you play, this game of basketball and this game of life. So being able to deal with adversity, being able to bounce back with these situations is so darn important. And so I think I'm really big on putting athletes into situations where they have to deal with adversity. And example, a week before a road game on a Friday night, we might have practice Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and might have a bad whistle where we're calling, bogus calls, but that's what's going to happen when you go on the road. So having a resilient mindset to be able to deal with calls, officials, etc., and being able to, focus on the things you can control, and the things you can't, are so darn important. So when I think about resiliency, those are the things that come to mind, and how we use it to really educate our student athletes and our players.
Awesome. Let's go. I love that. Resiliency. Now, like Coach Lunt mentioned, we're going to get to hear from Jacob Bolger, one of our other coaches. Jacob played freshman year on the JV squad at Pacific. I was the head coach. Got to know Jacob really well that year and ended up being a two-time All Northwest Conference performer on the floor. And that was just that mindset of being resilient. He could have easily quit when he was told he was on the JV team at Pacific, but I just love a success story. He just kept working, and then two-time all-conference player coming back this year for his 5th year at Pacific, and had 2 points, couldn't play, had a dunk. And so just talking about resiliency, Jacob Bolger comes to mind, had a tough setback, but 5 years at Pacific. Now he's going to be student teaching. He'll be an elementary teacher next year. And this year he's going to be a coach for G.R.I.T. So you're going to get to learn a little bit about intensity. And so this is the guy that you're going to get to hear a little bit about intensity from. Coach Bolger.
What's up, guys? Thanks for the introduction, Coach Miner. Appreciate it. I'm Coach Bolger. I was a two-time Northwest Conference holder for Pacific University. I developed a lot under Coach Miner and Coach Lunt. And Coach Lunt talked a lot about resiliency and controlling the things that you can control. And the one thing that in my head that I could always control when I heard Coach say control what you can control was my intensity. And so intensity is just the will to want to win everything you do. Every step you take, you want to win that step. Every conversation you have with another person, you want to win with that person. And so intensity is just the will to do what needs to be done. And getting excited about little things and doing the little things that matter, getting a little bit better every single day. And intensity is something that you can always control. So whether you're on a JV team and like me from my freshman year and a bit of my sophomore year, riding the bench, watching other people succeed, you could have a negative mindset and you can be out of the situation and you cannot develop and you cannot grow and you cannot be intense with your teammates, or you can hold on to every single moment that you have, every single opportunity that's given to you, and take it with a full head of steam and try and get downhill and make something happen. And so that's sort of the way that I've lived my life for the last 5 years, getting to know these coaches and really having these values instilled in me. And intensity is just the one thing in my mind that can change a pretty good player to one of the best players on the team, or one of the best players in the conference, or a champion, or an all-conference athlete. It is just effort and intensity, and that's the only thing that you need in order to get yourself to a position where you can succeed. Like Coach talked about, there are a lot of things that you can't control in the world, like the whistles, the refs, the coaches. You don't control that as a player, but what you do control is the effort and intensity that you put into everything that you do. So, whether I'm playing on the court or I sat for 8 months now on the bench. My senior year, I wanted to come back and make a difference on the team. I got injured. I wasn't able to play for the entire season, but intensity is showing up every single day, knowing that I'm not going to play, knowing that I don't get to offer the support that I've offered my teammates for the last 4 years, but accepting my role as somebody who is a leader, intense, and just cares about the program. And that's what intensity is to me. And that's what we're looking for in players in this program. And that's not a basketball thing. That's a life thing. Like the skill of intensity doesn't just end when you're done playing high school ball and then you move to college and then you're done playing college ball. It doesn't end after that. You need to be intense and care about everything that you're doing in your life. And that's a life skill that I've learned from my 5 years at Pacific University, and that we hope to instill in you guys and in the players at Grit this year. So I'm really grateful for the opportunity to coach alongside some amazing coaches that I've looked up to, and we're gonna get it this year.
Let's go. I love it. You can get that background noise off. Thanks, Jacob. I appreciate that. You do bring intensity and passion to everything you do, and families that are watching this, you can tell that why we're proud of this young man and what he's done, and just the setback of not being able to play senior year, super senior year, COVID senior year, whatever it might be, could have been done at the end of 4 years, decided to come back and then didn't get to play at all and still has an attitude like that. That's the mindset we're looking for with Grit. So gratitude, resiliency, intensity, togetherness. So I'm going to turn this over to another one of our coaches, Coach Brandon Hellstrom. Coach Hellstrom has had high school coaching experience in Modesto, has been an assistant at a number of very successful high school programs, coached in state playoffs, and now is an assistant college basketball coach at Pacific University. Shout out, Go Boxers. Coach Hellstrom, if you would unmute and tell us a little bit about the T in Grit.
And togetherness, absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you so much for being on the call with us. We are super excited to have you part of our program. And I think that's really the togetherness part of it, is that we want you to understand that we care about who you are, and that's been explained not just as a player but as a person, but that we all belong. And when I say we, it's not just the players and the coaches, but it's the families as well. This is something where we all want to see everyone succeed. And again, there's going to be different roles and different sort of things, but we want to make sure that togetherness, that when we do the different things that we do, that we are all, we all want to see each other succeed. And that's a huge piece of this, because at times with other organizations and stuff like that, it may be about getting points or getting different things, but no, this is about development. It's about times improvement doesn't just happen in a vacuum. It happens with working with different people and working together for not just the goal of winning and not just the goal of getting better, but it's also like having those experiences. I'm in this position because of the relationship that I have with Coach Miner, and that relationship helps me to have now a relationship with Coach Lunt and Coach Bulger, because again, those are things that I just wanted to be a part of what Coach Miner was doing, and that he brought me in and made me feel like I belonged and he cared about me, and he does. And that's how all these other things happen. So for us, that's a big piece of what we're trying to do. Is there, some magic script about this? No, but that is just something we want to just permeate throughout this program, is that we care about who you are, and you belong here. So I just want to say that I'm very excited to be a part of this. I'm super excited to just be somebody that brings value to your son and to your family. So just thank you so much for letting me talk.
Love it, Coach. I really appreciate that. And definitely, I do care about you a lot. And it's awesome to see. Worked Max Hoops, helped me for a long time. So I am definitely appreciative of you, Coach Hellstrom. So gratitude, resiliency, intensity, togetherness. That's something that we talk about a lot because we wear our core values on our chest. But we play for the name on the front of the jersey, but we also play for the name on the back. So when you're playing, players get their names on the back of the jerseys, 3 sets. Probably a lot of you have seen them. I'll show them here in a little bit, but you play for the name on the front, grit, and you play to represent your family and who you are on the back. But what's differentiated Jacob and some of the other players that have really stood out that have played for me is their mindsets. And that's something that you can control and that you can train. And I think that's really important to kind of normalize mental training just as much as you normalize getting your shots up. Minecraft body, there's certain things you can train. And one of them that's going to give us a competitive advantage to where maybe we're skill wise the same as somebody else, but because we have the mental toughness, we're going to beat them. Because maybe you're not always going to win the game because there's sometimes a big disparity between talent level, and you can't always control who you play against. Sometimes in these club basketball situations, we're going to be playing teams that are way better than us. Just huge. There's just people that are bigger humans. And so when you run into those people, you just got to try to get it to be the best you can in that situation and be resilient. But I'm going to turn this over to a friend of mine, got connected with him through another friend, and definitely really respect this guy, and his energy and the positivity is radiant. And so I'm going to turn this over to Evan Moore, and he's going to tell you a little bit more about the real frequency and what we're doing with our mental training. Evan, take it away.
Thanks so much, Coach. Appreciate it. Honored to be here with all these awesome coaches and in the spirit of grit. We're real selective of who we work with because it's important that everybody understands that there's 3 components to this training that you're about to go in and thrust yourself into and dedicate time, energy, money, whatever it may be. Many clubs work on the body. Many clubs work on the craft, but not many truly work on the mind. And that's why I love what Coach Miner's done here is bring us in and really bring around that 360 degree focus point so everyone can work on every aspect of their game. And I'm so excited here because everything that grit stands for all circles around the ability for you to focus in and train that mindset. The mindset's so critical. It's easy to have a great mindset. It's easy to be intense. It's easy to have togetherness when things are going well, when you're winning, because winning's fun and you will win. The true test, and I think it's been talked about this by several of these coaches, is that when mindset really comes into play is when things start going sideways, when you are challenged, not just physically, not just in your craft, but in your mindset. And so we're proud to be a partner here. And I'm going to introduce you to a portal that we have here that everyone is going to be interacting with. It is something that we're very proud of. It's something that we spend a lot of time and energy in and focus so that athletes like yourself can hone in on your mindset. and not just watching a video, but interacting with it. So coaches know where you are in the process, know where you are in your mindset, so they can help you in understanding where you are in the day of the game. Are you ready? Are you in your optimal performance state? Are you doing the things that you can do prior in pregame so you do play optimally? And if you're not, then that's what they're here to help. Coaches coach because they want to change lives, and they want to make an imprint on your ability to play, and make it fun and engaging and create a community. It'd be easy if everyone just came in and played like young LeBron James. Just kind of take it on their own shoulders, and you let them play. Step back and watch them go. But we know that because of where you're coming into grit, how competitive you are, that there's things to work on. So long as you understand that, this program is going to be hugely beneficial for everybody here. And what a stable of horses we have in coaches here. I just want to say how fortunate everybody is, and again, how fortunate Real Frequency is to be associated with this. Today, we're going to send out a link to everybody in the chat, and I want everyone to open it up and just, it's a real simple registration form. Once Coach, do you want to share that, or do you want me to share that? And then I can go ahead and share my screen.
Do you have ability to share your screen?
I do. I think you made me.
Okay, yeah. If you want to share it, that'd be great.
Great. Excellent. First thing I'm going to do is throw this in the chat. If everyone can open the chat and see the link that's about to populate. I had to wait until we all started here, so bear with me here.
So maybe I'll explain just a little bit that this will be part of the tryout for you, for everyone that is a part or already a part of Grit. You'll need to do this, absolutely. And if you're trying out, this also will be something that will be part of the tryout. So not just March 5th and March 12th. Those will be the in-session, on-court tryout piece of this. But we will do this leading up to those two on-floor pieces, because I want to see who's going to be engaged, who's going to participate. That is a big part of Grit. So I just wanted to make sure I said that, Evan. I know you put the link in the chat. If you're watching this on replay, we will get you the link. If you're watching this, just shoot me a message and I will get you that link. But I'll turn it back to you, Evan.
Thanks, Coach. Yeah, and as Coach says, it's really critical that you stay up to pace with this and engage. Coach will be seeing it. We send reports every other day to Coach to make sure that everyone's engaging and what their feedback is, so Coach can get a better idea of where you are in the system, where you are in your head. All right. Is everybody able to see that link? Open it up and register by chance. Okay. Excellent. Anyone not able to do this before I move on? All right. Fantastic. So I'm just going to give you a little tour of what it looks like. This is the Grit home screen. We call this Amplitude, and this is going to help you shape and form your mindset in a very succinct and orderly fashion. We will open up the introduction chapter to you on Monday. We want to make sure that everybody's in okay, and then you'll be receiving a text message with the instructions of what videos to watch and which videos to interact with. It's very mobile friendly, so if you have an iPad or you want to watch this on your phone, that's fine too. You don't necessarily need your laptop. Laptop works as well. But there's a lot of things that this thing can do. The first and foremost, we want to get you into the training, and we want to get you into the introduction. And that's going to be through the training center. Now, all you have to do is once you're into the training center, you go to the first videos and you press play. And as you watch these videos, there's our mindset guru. His name's Colin Henderson. He's a D1 athlete. He is baseball, football, WSU. He was an amazing athlete in his own right, but what he struggled with was his mindset and his ability to to get through his self-talk, his confidence, particularly when things didn't go his way. And what he's done is dedicated his life to young athletes and to be sure that they are prepared, and they're actually starting now in this journey as you're in high school and you're working towards this adventure, hopefully onto basketball after high school. If that's not the case, then this translates to other areas in your life as well. And that's another piece of why Grit's so great, is that this isn't just about training you to be a man on the court, but a man off the court as well. How you hold yourself, how you respond to adversity, your integrity, your toughness, and your togetherness. It transcends basketball. I know that's what's in Brant Miner's heart, and that's why he brought us on, and it's why he's brought these wonderful coaches here who believe the same thing. Now, Coach, I think we're going to open up the community to them once they start integrating with the training center. We didn't want to do too much too soon. So basically, everybody, once you receive your link on Monday, we want you to take 10 minutes out of your day to sit down and to interact with this. The next module won't open up until you're finished. So you don't have to worry about binging anything or spending a lot of time actually going through this program. Does anyone have any questions, or Coach, do you have anything to add right now?
No, I think this is a huge piece of it. And I think that there's so many people that are missing the opportunity to better themselves and to give yourself a competitive advantage. I mean, if the pros do it, why are we not doing it, right? So how do we differentiate ourselves? You know, we want to be not just high basketball IQ, and that's why we have coaches that have played. You know, our coaches have played in college and have coached in college. And so I definitely think that the basketball IQ will be improved. And then off the floor, Evan, what you bring, and just this awesome, it's next level, for sure. Just being able to interact. You can keep notes on the videos that you watch. Those will be shared with the coaches. So that way we can be engaging with you and helping you, not just on the floor, but if you are struggling with things off the floor, that's what we're going to be able to pick up on through these things, and hopefully be able to help you this time, spring. You guys are just coming off your high school seasons. This is the time right now where you can get a jump that will help you propel into summer, fall, and then next season, whether there is some unsigned seniors in our program, whether that's at the college level, which some of the players that with Grit will be, or the high school season next year. So that's where we're trying to take you from where you are to where you want to be. So there will be extra. This is something extra. Grit is not just a roll it out on the weekends, run up and down. It's not a 9 to 5, so to say. It's definitely, you're gonna have to put in probably an hour to, and not a lot of time, but if you're not wanting to commit to something like this, that's fine, but Grit won't be for you. So that's why we're kind of doing this as a lead up to the tryouts, is to see who's taking this serious. Because if you don't take this serious, you're wasting your money and your time. So that's kind of all I got on that, Evan. If you want to add anything else before we head on to the next part of the meeting.
Yeah, absolutely. Want to reiterate that you're not only wasting your time and money, but hurting your teammates. If only some of the team is practicing mindset, it's like just some of the team is practicing free throws. Some of the team is practicing their crossover. Some of the team's getting into the weight room, some's not. And when the pressure's on and it counts and the game is on the line and you're at the free throw and you didn't practice very well, you know, who's going to suffer? That's most likely the whole team. If the pressure's on and you find yourself in a situation where you think, I need some mental toughness here, or I'm going to utilize the tools that I've learned through this. If you don't, you're hurting your team. That's why this togetherness is really critical. And we all do this in unison. And that's why I applaud coach for making this a part of tryouts. And that if you don't interact, you don't make the team. If you don't practice, you don't make the team. if you don't work out or show up, you're not playing. And again, thank you, coach. Thank you, coaches, for understanding it and really getting on this, agreeing that God, mindset is just as critical as the other two pieces of body and craft. It is a huge part of the game. So thanks for affording this to your players, and I can't wait to see what we do this year.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Yes. So let's see. Are you able to? So as you can see, there we go. There we go. So we're gonna move on to the next part because we do want to get through a lot of stuff here today, and just to respect everyone's time, we'll try to keep it quick. So first thing we'll do, like we said, if you didn't already, grab that link, get signed up for that. Expectations, we will have a Google form that you will fill out over your goals. So like coach was saying, or like we want to know your goals, because if you say this is what you want, then we're able to hold you to a higher standard. Or not. If you just say you want to just be a rec player, you probably won't be in the program, first of all. But if there is someone that you get in and that's your goals, that's okay. But if you say, well, I want to play in college, then we're able to hold you to those standards. Because I always say, if your actions don't line up with your goals, change your goals or change your actions. It's a pretty simple thought though, right? Like if your actions, what you do every day, isn't in alignment with that big picture, that goal that you want, then just change that goal and say, okay, I just want to be a good high school player. I don't really want to play in college. Or change your actions. So I do have to give up some certain, you can't always go to the movies with the friends because you said that you were going to get in 200 makes a day in the off season. You can't always have what you want. Evan and I have something else that we're have in common. Oreos. I love Oreos. I know Evan loves Oreos too. Shoot, I love Oreos, but I can't have them every day. And just because you guys are young and your metabolism's still fast and you don't get fat yet, you still shouldn't have Oreos every day. I mean, every now and then, all things in moderation or whatever they say, but you guys can't say, well, I want to have abs, but I don't want to do crunches and I love tacos. Doesn't work. Trust me, it doesn't work. So if you do want the goal, so that's one of the first things we're going to have you guys do. Everyone's going to fill out a goal sheet, and it'll be a Google form that you go in, you answer the questions, and then that way we get an idea as coaches a little bit better about how to coach you. Participation and communication. So communication is really important for me. I'm good on mobile messaging. I'm a good texter. We will have a group text with all the players. So just to explain that a little bit, we will this spring have 20 players on Grit. Summer, we're going to expand and possibly do a younger team. For the spring, we have 20 spots available with Grit. So 2 teams, 1 program. Everybody has the same practice times, the same Zoom times, the same tournaments, different brackets, same tournaments, same expectations to be a part of this program. So 2 teams, 1 program. And so everybody will be in a group chat. So there'll be 25 of us. We have 5 coaches, 20 players. So I know we talked about this with one family, but I have a small amount of stock in Apple. So I'm not just like, it's not like I'm a majority shareholder or anything like that, but iPhones make this whole thing a lot easier, or a tablet or something where you can iMessage, because if one person doesn't have an iPhone, you can't just add new people, and you can only have 20 in a text. But we have 20 players. 25 need to be in that chat. So not going to require it, besides it will be required to have an iMessage capability. So that might be that, and I'll get to the price. I'll give the spoiler. It's $1,800 for the spring, plus the travel to Seattle. I'll get the schedule here in a little bit, but there will be 4 Portland area tournaments, 1 tournament in Auburn, Washington. So it's $1,800 plus the travel, the hotel in that one. If you're out of the area, I know we have families from Roseburg to Hermiston to Coos Bay. You might have an additional fee for hotels if you're coming for the weekend. And if you have a flip phone or an Android, the cost of I think you can get them $100 maybe even. The older model of the I mean I don't have a 15, or I do have an iPhone though, and it does just make things easier. So like I said, I'm not like anti other types of phones. It just makes my job a lot more difficult if even one person has it. So got that out of the way, because there's people that don't have them, but that makes it more difficult for me. And I have a lot of things that are difficult in my life, so trying to figure out how to communicate with everybody through different means or would make it more difficult. All right, playing time. So we are a program that rewards players based on a lot of different things. Everyone thought I was going to say hard work. Just because you work hard doesn't mean you're going to play. Shoot, I like that. That should be just a ticket. That doesn't mean you're going to get to eat. That's just for a place at the table. Yeah, everybody works hard. And just because you work hard doesn't always mean you're going to win or get the chance. And I learned that as a college athlete. I worked really hard to be the worst player on the team. But I did play Division I college basketball. So when you guys get to that level and you can play Division I college basketball, then you can come back and talk trash about me never starting a game. All right. But until then, have a little respect for your elders and realize that a has been is better than a never was. So I did play Division I college basketball. I didn't turn it over once in my college career. I played in 21 college basketball games, and that's a fact that I didn't turn it over. So my assist to turnover ratio for you guys that are good at math, now everyone's looking kind of puzzled because you realize if you're good at math, you can't divide by 0, which means it would probably show up as INF or maybe like a sideways 8, an infinite symbol, because you can't divide by 0. Or undefined, maybe. I don't know exactly. Probably undefined is what it would be. But yeah, I'm proud of that because when someone travels or does something silly, that's one more. I also knew my role. That's a big part of grit, is knowing your role. If I turn it over, my rear was going right back to the bench. So I had to take care of the ball. I couldn't be careless with it. But yeah, and the internet was around when I was playing. So if you want to do the research, you can do the research and find out that that's actually factual, and not just kind of. I mean, the internet was around. So, and I'm a stickler for literal versus figuratively. So like when people say, I'm so hungry, I could literally eat a horse right now. No, you couldn't. You could not eat a horse. Next part of this. So lots of things depend. Hard work is part of it. How well you play the game of basketball, how coachable you are, all the things that you can think of. We do stress playing hard and playing together. If you're not playing together, you're not playing. If you're not playing hard, you're not playing. So we play hard and we play together. Win or lose, we'll live with it. If you don't play hard, even if we win, I might not be as happy. But if you play hard and you play together, sometimes you might not end up with more points. And I'll tell you, that's not the main goal of this. I want to win. Trust me, let's not get this twisted. I want to win. Coach Lunt loves to win. He did have to head out. I'm not sure if you guys saw it in the chat, but he had a family obligation that he had to get to. So yeah, not equal playing time, but those that play harder and play better and have been working on their game. I'm about to go to the schedule, but just because you're at everything doesn't mean that you'll get to start over somebody that does miss certain activities. because there's a lot of things that play into it. But if you play hard, you're not going to hurt your chances. Let's just phrase it maybe like that. If you play really hard, you're not going to hurt your chances. Then you got to have everything else that comes with it. We got the mental toughness overview. So I'll go to the schedule. So I will get this out to anybody that wants it. I think a lot of you have it already, but I will go through. So we'll have this meeting today. We'll have another one next Sunday. So you are not required to come to that if you have stuff going. If you want to come just because you get to hear some dad jokes and want to be on, you're more than welcome. But that'll be next Sunday, March 3rd. The 5th will be the first tryout date, March 5th. That'll be at the Middleton Jewish Community Center, which is in Multnomah Village in Southwest Portland. Multnomah or Middleton Jewish Community Center, 5 to 7 p.m. Wednesday, March 6th, we will have a team meeting on Zoom, just like this, at 6 p.m. March 10th, the Sunday, we'll have a team meeting at 3 p.m., followed by the last tryout, which will be March 12th, also at the Jewish Community Center from 5 to 7. Then that Wednesday, we'll have a team meeting. And again, I don't expect you all to be writing this down right now because I will send this out. But I will say that if you make grit or you play with grit, whenever you come to meetings, you will have a notepad with you. You will have something to take notes on, and you'll have a notebook that we help you kind of create, but it should help you with your schedule, should help you with a number of things. So you need to have a notebook, okay? So that's something that we will discuss for those that do make the program. We will have, and I'll send this out, but Wednesdays and Sundays in the preseason is when we'll have team meetings. Starting the 19th of March, we'll do Tuesday night workouts. We're calling those workouts because not everyone will be at those. If we're prioritizing workouts, if you live in Beaverton, I would expect you to be at those unless you've communicated with me otherwise. Or if you live in Albany and you need to miss, that's fine as long as you communicate with me. You'll see that I'm not the type that's going to be upset if you do have to miss things as long as you're communicating. Not communicating is where we would have problems. But I don't think the 16-year-old's basketball schedule should be the only thing on the family calendar. Obviously, we're teaching commitment, but there's kids that are coming from 4 hours away to play in these 5 tournaments. So I would say that they're committed. And I know the kids that we're accepting from outside the area are working on their game Monday through Thursday, will be in shape when they show up on Friday nights before our Saturday, Sunday tournaments. So that's where we don't say just because you're at everything, you'll start. Just because you miss something, you're not going to start. Like I said, it depends on a lot of things. And then we will play our first event will be the Max Hoops Showcase. That will be March 30th and 31st. I do understand that Sunday this year is Easter. So if you need to miss, that is acceptable. We'd love to have you there for both days. If you can only make it Saturday, that would be all right also. Then we will have the following weekend is the Final Four. So coaches will be out of town. So we will do Zoom and then a workout. The first tournament will be April 13th and 14th in Portland. Then we'll do workouts, meeting. Then we practice the Fridays before those tournaments. So the practice April 12th, April 19th. Pacific University and Sanders Court are where we will have our practices. Workouts are at the Jewish Community Center. Last weekend is Memorial Day, and that's the trip to Auburn. So Auburn is near Seattle. It's a really awesome facility up there where both teams will be playing in the same venue. So the silver team will be there cheering on the gold team. Gold team will be there cheering on the silver team, showing that togetherness that we will talk about a lot. So that's the schedule. I know I skipped some, but that's kind of the idea. I will send out the specifics. So I know some of you are note takers and I kind of started to trail off there, but I do have it all on an Excel-ish Google Sheets. If you know Google Sheets, it keeps me organized a little bit. So that's the schedule. Talk a little about the roster formation. We will offer and select 15 of the 20, and then we have a tryout for the remaining 5 spots. So I know we have several people who are on the call who have been offered a spot and accepted it. So I see Aiden and Baylor and Clayton. So I appreciate you guys hopping on. I see Corbin hopped on. He had practice. And talk about a grit guy, Asher Vredenberg, plays at Roseburg. He knew about the meeting. He texted me and said, Coach, as soon as you get done and you get it on the YouTube, send it to me. I need to watch it. He's at practice right now preparing for the OSAA state tournament, which I get. So that's a great guy. Instead of saying, oh, but Coach, I didn't tell you, or having excuses, he preemptively prevented a problem. And that's really an important lesson. And there's kids, just because you failed a plan doesn't mean it should create an emergency on my end. That's what proper communication should prevent. But if you don't communicate and then all of a sudden you're like, but coach, I need this, I'm not going to be in a hurry to solve that, I guess. So then we'll pick 5 more out of the tryout. So the advice I've been giving players is prepare if you're not offered a guaranteed roster spot and I'm asking you to come to tryouts, prepare, work hard, and then if you don't make the team, you can't feel bad about it. But if you don't work hard or you kind of coast and you don't put in the time leading up and you don't make it, then you'll have regrets, right? But I know there's some younger guys on this call. I respect you tuning in and listening. And if you get the opportunity, I want you to come in and try to compete. And if you don't make one of 20 this year, then find it as a goal to try to keep working. And like I said, this spring or the summer, we might open it up to another younger team, but 20 in the spring, everything's based around 20 players. So I do get excited and I ramble sometimes, so I have to keep checking back to make sure I'm not getting too far off. Everybody does know I'm a national record holder now, though, so I did get a little, I guess, not sidetracked. I try to work that into every conversation I have with folks. We will be helping with the workouts. So depending on the player's goals, what you do with grit is not enough to get to where you want to be in the gym. So we will help you tailor custom workouts if you need. We'll help you try to find local gyms. Some of you guys I know have access or memberships at Shoot 360 where you get your shots up, or you have a gym, but we can help you with that. But you will need more than that. Thanks, Evan. Appreciate you, my man. Thanks for coming through. The body has limits, but the mind is limitless. All right, let's go. Thanks, Evan.
Thanks, guys. Take care, everybody.
Great guy right there. Also, the speed and agility and quickness and movement training is something that we can help with also. Wanted to talk about parent communication. I'm happy to talk with parents. Parents do not initiate the contact with coaches for 24 hours. Just a little cool down. I've had parents corner coaches and hopefully everyone's either nodding like that's a good rule or like, I can't believe that you've ever been cornered by a parent. But either way, 24 hours after the end of the tournament. If you want to talk, you can initiate it. Sometimes I will text families afterwards, and if a kid didn't get to play as much or something, I might call and or reach out and explain something. Or lots of times, hey, let's go. Great job this weekend. But if you're pissed at me, that's okay. Yeah, if you're that's okay. There's going to be times that you're probably, I mean, every parent thinks their kid's a little better at least than they really are, except for me, because my son really is the cutest kid in the world. So I don't know what it's like to be that dad, but so depending, we're going to take 20 kids. We're not going to guarantee much besides you'll be one of 20. Whether you're on the silver team or the gold team, like I said, there's a lot that comes into it. So I'm gonna have, let's see if Jacob, I'm gonna turn it over to you real quick because Jacob's gonna talk a little bit about role and playing the role that we assign you, even if it's not the role that you love or want right away. Jacob, turning it over to you.
Thanks, Coach. So just a little background on me and who I am as a player. I was never the gold team guy. I was on the B team or the C team all throughout high school. And I never really got the opportunity to play with the best kids on the team. But I can tell you right now that every single one of my AAU teammates who were on a team above me or on a team below me or on the same team as me have not accomplished and are not as proud of their career as I am of mine. So the position that you're placed on, silver or gold, that does not define who you are as an athlete. It doesn't define who you are as a competitor. It's simply where we feel like you're going to be the best fit and where you're going to get the most minutes and be the most developed. And coaches will be at these games and they'll watch you, and there's no shortage of exposure on either of the teams. You're both going to be getting exposure on both teams. And the big thing is that if you are placed in a situation and your role is something that you don't want it to be, there's only one thing that you can do to change that. And it's your effort and your intensity and the way that you conduct yourself. So if your goal is to make the gold team, then you need to be doing things that'll put you in a position to make the gold team. And if you don't make the gold team, you need to put yourself in a position to where you're going to make it next time and be the best at what your role on the team is. Like I said during my introduction, I came back as a fifth-year senior. We had really big hopes for me in my season playing with Pacific University, and my role got to be sitting on the bench after being an all-conference athlete 2 years in a row, being the leading scorer at Pacific University, leading rebounder at Pacific University on my team. Like, none of that mattered because my role was not to do that this year, right? So you have to buy into your role and support your teammate, and that goes back into the togetherness aspect of the team, right? It's 20 guys, and we're all together, whether you're on the gold team or the silver team. And so the big thing that you have to do as an athlete, and this is not just as an athlete, this is a real life skill too, is to buy into the position that you're in and do the best that you can do in that position every single day, because then you get to go to bed at night knowing that you did your best and you tried your best and you were the greatest version of yourself today. So it's just getting a little bit better every single day and buying into the position and the role that you have on our team. And if you can do that, great things will come to you. Great things will come to you. The world always finds a way to reward hard workers. So yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, wow. I'm over here almost crying because this is a guy that when I first met him, you guys would not have not saying that, but there was a few times where I had to I don't know if you remember that, Jacob, but there was one time I got really upset with Jacob because he was kind of moping a little bit after coming down to my team. And so I had to tell him kind of in a loud voice with a few choice words that I thought would get through to him that don't you ever. No, it was sometimes they need to know that you might just lose it on him. But Jacob, that was great, man. I appreciate that, sharing that, because that is something that we talk about. You got to know your role, accept your role, and then excel at your role. That middle one's usually the hardest one, is to accept it. But if you have that attitude of where this is my role, this is what coach wants me to do, and you do it to the best of your ability, your role will grow. If you mope, if you pout, if you complain, your role will shrink. So that was like my example of me in college. Like I never started a game, but I loved my experience. I did play when we beat Gonzaga. I played at the University of Oregon, and it was a great experience. I was a walk-on, which means I had no basketball scholarship. So that's another thing that we really emphasize, is taking care of business in the classroom. The better your GPA is, the more money you can get to go to college. I can speak to that. There's 10,000 academic scholarships for every one basketball scholarship in the United States, 10,000 to 1. Unless you really like, unless parents that are watching, unless you really like to go to Vegas and take the really long shot, focus on the academic scholarships, because 10,000 to 1 of them. So my school is paid for, almost all of it, through academics, community service, student government. None of it was because I was good at basketball, but that put me in a position where I could play Division One. I helped the team GPA. That was part of my role. If I didn't help the team GPA, I wouldn't have been on the team. I knew that. I accepted it. I knew that I wasn't as good as Pooh Jeter, who played in the NBA. Pooh played for the Kings and played until he's 39. He was playing in the G League when he was 39 years old. And I guarded him every day, but I knew I wasn't as good. So I had to do what I could. I fouled him. I grabbed him in practice. I'd get physical, try to get physical, because that was my role, was to get him better. So the games were easier or the practices were the hardest part of the week for Pooh. And then when he went off against Gonzaga, I didn't. I played 3 seconds. I played, my name will forever be in that box score, but I felt kind of like I really contributed to that game because of how Pooh just made it look so easy out there, just like, because he wasn't getting grabbed and fouled the whole time. But that's about all that I have. I was going to show this year's uniforms. So I'll take off my virtual backdrop so that way I can show the whites. Grit. So we'll make 20 of those. And then we have, because sometimes when you're playing in these tournaments, you have multiple games in the same day. So we do have 3 different looks. St. John's Bridge, nice little shout out to NOPO, North Portland. And then we have the blacks. These ones might be the ones right here. Nice Argyle, the Oregon State outline. So everybody will get 3 sets of uniforms, warm-up tops, have some awesome partnerships. Shout out Bridge Tech. There you go. Let's go. So yeah, we're pumped about the uniforms because we want to look good, feel good, play good. So that's why we put the names on the back, because you're not just playing for the name on the front. So that's what some people would say, but you're representing your family. And grit on the front. I just found out a few years ago about a new term, ohana. Ohana, which is not family. A lot of people think it's family. However, it's chosen family. Who you love, who you care about, who you want to spend your time with, who you want to be around is your ohana, your chosen family, who you love enough to call your family. You don't get to pick your mom and dad. You don't get to pick your brothers and sisters, but who you love enough to call your family is your ohana. And so they talk about that at Pacific University, and we talk about it with grit because you guys are choosing to be a part of this. There's nobody that's making you be a part of this. I mentioned the price, $1,800. So even if you're 6'11", everybody pays the $1,800. That way we're going to charge somebody twice. So that way somebody doesn't pay. We're going to try to make sure that everybody gets the value out of this, because I know that there is a lot of competition for teams in Portland, but we're not trying to be the cheapest. We want to be the best. And sometimes you get what you pay for. Well, I guess most of the time you kind of get what you pay for. And so we're going to try not to be the most expensive, but we're going to try to be the best value. So what you get out of this with the mental training, the gear, the coaching, to have a head college coach. I know Coach Lunt isn't on anymore, but Coach Lunt's been a head college 4-year basketball coach for 18 years. And I know he looks like he's must have started but he started young, obviously, because he's not that old of a guy to have 18 years of head college coaching experience. And he's intense. And I'm a pretty intense.
He's the greatest coach. He's the greatest coach you'll ever meet. Oh, he's more intense than me. That's just there's a picture of Coach Lunt on the sideline, and we kind of call him the sixth man because he's on the floor just as much as we're on the floor. And there's a picture of him, and he's jumping up and down about a call that's made, and he's about as high up. His feet are about as high up as my head. So that just tells you, you know, we care as coaches. We're intense as coaches, and we want the best out of y'all and y'all kids. So it's a family. It's what your kid brings to the table that we want to expand on. And Coach Lunt, man, if you have the opportunity to be coached by Coach Lunt, it's a dream come true. It's amazing. He's the greatest.
I love that the kid of our coaching staff is now calling kids. So what's that dates? That makes me a grandpa almost. But yeah, Coach Lunt is intense. Makes me look kind of sleepy, and I'm a pretty high energy dude too. And Jacob is probably one of the most. Everybody saw that picture of just that energy, or like just what he brings to the table is going to be awesome. So I'm pumped to have you, Coach Bolger. So I know that we've taken a little over an hour, so I'm going to go ahead and we can take questions. I'm going to stop the recording.